This is Slay the Spire, and I am Chris. I'm just gonna go through a quick run through and explain a few things that you need to know while playing Slay the Spire, and hopefully why it's so fun. Or not fun, but crazy, and so that it becomes fun. So I created a new profile up there on the bottom, on the upper left. See Tuber. So this is a fresh account, and you only get the one option. You can unlock them as you go. I'm just gonna go skip right through everything just to make it a little bit faster. So here we have the Ironclad. He's the first out of the 4 heroes that you can unlock. On the left you have the description of what he has, and when it says Burning Blood, that's called a relic. And every hero has one relic to start with, and about 12 cards in their starting deck. This is a card game, ultimately. And you have a few paths you could choose from. They do matter quite a bit, especially when you get to the higher levels. This is a Spire, and your goal is to extend it. So, the Ironclad has a really good relic to start with, healing for 6 HP at the end of every combat. That is not every turn, it is every combat. So you can afford to take 6 damage, and then at the end of the encounter, you heal all the way back to full health. Do not expect that, but in the early fights, it's really useful. That means you can afford to take some damage and kill enemies a bit faster. It's going to walk you through the tutorial. Hopefully I can skip it. The bottoms are the 4 rooms I can choose to start with, and they will have their own branching paths. From here I can see that every single path, except for the 2 right ones, has what I would say 2 elite encounters. You can tell by the right hand guide on the bottom of that little scroll, it says elite. If I stick to the hard right, I get 1 encounter with an elite there before the resting point. I go up past that treasure, past that second resting point, and I can have another elite encounter. That's useful if you have hit points. If not, then you have to avoid it to survive. If you die once in this game, it's game over for all of it. Some items you get later on, spoilers of course, can revive you, but they are one use only. You could get it as a potion or as a relic. Relics and cards help you improve your power and your options. So let's go for it. This has the most fights, which means it has the most cards. So I'm going to go ahead and go through that. Not necessarily, but question marks are usually not cards. You get 4 types of cards. You get attack cards, skill cards, power cards, and ethereal or like white cards. The color of these cards are red because Ironclad is red. It's that simple. Every character will have their own color type. Sometimes you could get cards outside of your color. When you press the directional buttons and you go over to the characters themselves, you can start to check everything out by detail. It gives you almost all the information you need. Sometimes it can be vague, like he's going to use a buff, but once you encounter enough of these enemies, you'll know what they're going to do. This particular enemy, the cultist, uses a buff to empower himself, which means that he's not going to attack. You get 3 options: strategic, attack, defend, and actually a 4th, which is the question mark. That lets you know what they intend to do and about how much damage or how much their block they're going to gain. He's not going to deal me any damage, so I do not need to defend. Block it and damage are direct, so if I have 5 block, I can absorb 5 hit. 5 damage, basically. Strike deals 6 damage, so if I stroke myself after I hit the defend, I would take 1 damage. He is not blocking, so I don't need to hold back. You could apply certain conditions like vulnerable, weaken, and others, and that makes them a little bit easier to fight, but usually those cards either cost more, deal less damage, or are skill cards. Okay. Vulnerable is going to make him take more damage, and this says apply to. That means it's going to last for 2 turns. The number always correlates to the amount of turns that it will last. Remember, the enemies can do this to you too. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and bash. We apply vulnerable, so now instead of taking 6, if I look at the card, it changes to a green 9 because he has the vulnerable. Doing the math is pretty useful sometimes. Other times you don't really care and you can just hit him anyway. That ritual makes him hit harder every turn, so I don't necessarily want to hold back. Eventually, no matter how much I block, he will always hit me pretty hard. So I will defend just this once because I have 2 strike cards, and that's going to let me use up my energy, which is that little yellow circle. 0 out of 3 because I used 3 1-ofs. There's that damage I was talking about. I took 1 damage. If I get no more cards, if you press L2, you have your draw pile. These are the cards that are in your deck. My discard pile is empty, so I can't see it, but if I use my strike card, I can now see it if I press R2. He's going to hit me for 9, but since he only has 13, I won't be able to kill him unless I draw 3 strike cards. There are 3 strike cards, and I do get to draw 5, so in this next turn I will be able to kill him. So just to reduce the damage I take, and remember I heal for 6 at the end of combat, I can afford to take that damage. Guaranteed to kill. He will hit me for 12, but that's okay because I'm going to hit him for everything. My hit points were recovered. Now I get gold, potion, and a card. Here you can see that it's a power card, a skill card, and an attack card. The color of the little band where the title of the card is its rarity. Common is gray, uncommon is blue, rare is gold, and then I think that's pretty much it. This gives me additional draws. This gives me block at the end of my turns. This is a power card. Every power card is permanent after you use it once. Because it does not it will go back into my deck. Exhaust means that the cards will not reappear in your deck. I do like to draw 3 cards because that gives me more options. I'm going to take that. If you want to look at your deck, it's L1. And remember, Ironclad started with this as his deck. After that, every encounter, I will have a choice to add a card or not. Sometimes you don't want the card. Okay. When I scroll over to the enemy, it says that they are aggressive, so they will attack. It's also a quick shorthand, just the numbers on their head. Since they're going to hit for 11, but I do have the battle trance, I could go ahead and use it to get more attack, but I don't need it. I'm going to block most of the damage and hit them. Damage dealt is hit points saved. Think of it that way. So now it's going to block and use a buff, so I can go all out on this attack. I would deal approximately 18 damage, but that's not enough to kill it even if I went on further. My draw pile is low, so I will be able to draw more cards next turn, and I have that draw card in my deck, so if I get that I might be able to do triple strike with vulnerable on him. More likely, he's going to deal attack damage to me, and I will need to defend. So even if I do apply vulnerable, on that second turn, that's when I'll be able to kill it. Not this turn. Okay. So I can deal a total of 27 damage, and he gets 26 because of his guard. That's more than enough to kill him. Just to show you what this card does. Makes me draw 3, but then I can't draw. But I have enough strikes to finish him off. Only because I applied vulnerable. Okay, so here I have another series of options. This deals a little bit more damage than my normal strike, and it gives me a draw, which might let me get my other draw card. And because Searing Blow can be upgraded any number of times, it could deal consequently more damage. By pressing triangle, you can get a closer look and view its upgrades. You can upgrade with cards in your deck or add rest points. 16 damage is not bad. I'm going to go ahead and take that just so I have a damage dealing option. I might get more later on. This game doesn't have to be fair. I can apply Vulnerable and then deal 1 of these 6 damage. If I'm okay with that, I could probably take out that Spike Slime with Searing Blow and then deal some damage to the slime. Because I killed the attacker, I will take no damage, which means I don't have as much to worry about. Weaken means I deal 25% less damage. Fine by me. Since he will deal 10 damage, I can block it all. And wait out that weaken, because the weaken is only for 1 turn. Now that I'm no longer weak, I can hit him with that Searing Strike and the Searing Blow. Very good. So I could get the draw card to get my options a bit faster. Remember, I can draw after I use it, so if I draw another one, I basically didn't draw a 3rd card. This one, however, gains me block whenever a card is exhausted. That, for me, is really useful later on, so especially when enemies start inflicting things to you. Curl Up is a fun little ability. They're all going to gain armor after I hit them once, but then that's it. So I'm going to hit it with a strike, 1 each. I take 5 damage, but that's fine. Now, 2 of them are a bit stronger than the others, so I need to make sure I either kill 2, which I can do, and block 1. So now I take 3 damage. That's fine. I heal for most of it. Here are some of those better options. I don't have a lot of multi-attack cards, so I think that's what I'm going to get. This is 5 damage every turn. It does hurt me, but if they are dead, they can't hurt me. I hate question mark rooms. There's that card. I will want to kill that little guy. So next turn, after the shield is down, I could kill it with just 1 strike instead of 2. I could have also relied on the combustion. Oh well. Since he won't hit me, I don't have a problem not taking him out right now. The other guy's going to deal 6. So I'll block most of that, hit it. Okay. That slime is, or the small loose, is going to die this turn. So I have no problem with him. That's going to deal 9 damage, which is a bit more than I like. Since I am weakened, it doesn't help me too much. Hitting him for all I have, I think is what I'm going to end up doing. With 27 plus my combustion, I should be able to take him out if I get 3 strikes next turn, which is what I'm going to get. You don't have to play this aggressively or this strategically, and you can't on first play, even if you wanted to. But it is what you will end up doing. This is a great card because when upgraded, it upgrades all cards in my hand. So for upgrading one, I get to upgrade everything. Unfortunately, I don't get it right before this fight. This is a boss, or a mini boss, you could say. So I will use that strength potion. This permanently makes me stronger by 2. The enemy is asleep, so I can hit him for all I can. Damage is a lot of damage, so I will use my armaments. I don't have any cards that exhaust, so I will upgrade just the bash. It's gonna hit me pretty hard, but I knew that battle. Their damage numbers are randomly generated most of the time. So there's no way you could really help against that. I could use the combos right now, deal in 5, or I could strike him for 12. This battle is going to go for a little bit more than 3 rounds, I think. So combust will do more damage over time than that single strike will. Now he's going to use a negative effect, which could either be vulnerable or weak, which are the common ones. So I'm going to just lay on the pain. Seems like he weakened me. And there he goes again for another 18 damage. I could deal quite a bit more damage right now. I'll put him within killing range. Take a little bit less damage and finish him off. I probably could have defended a bit more. So this is another relic. It's going to upgrade power cards automatically for me, which is great. Got another potion. And here's some better cards. I'll take that feed. It's hard to get kills with it, but it's what I'll do. And here's my chance to upgrade. I did the upgrade instead of rest because I could rest before that next elite encounter. If I don't take damage here, I also healed a little bit. All my cards are upgraded. Now I take no damage, and I still hit him. No kill shot here, so let's spend a bit. Lay down some damage. His attack applies vulnerable, which is not good. Alright, I can defend most of that damage and hit him with a bash to finish him off next turn. So multi-hit or disarm. I think I'll take that disarm. This is where that combust is going to really shine. Unfortunately, I did not draw it. I could defend or I could take one out. So, looking at them and the amount of damage I can deal, I should be able to take out one of the fire gremlins. Or fat gremlins. Seeing how I have no way to really kill any of them, I'll just put one within kill range. Feed does 10 damage, so as long as they don't weaken me, it'll be fine. Oh, pissed them off. Great. Since they're gonna hit me, I could just defend and kind of wait out. Because I have that combustion, I'd rather take 1 damage than 9. Anger is really great. It keeps giving me free attacks, which I love. I can upgrade, but I really need that hit point back. This guy punishes you for using anything that isn't an attack, which is no good for me. Making him lose 2 strike now means every time he hits me for 2 less, which is better than a 5 block further down. However, I could make him vulnerable team and try to end the fight a bit stronger. If I draw 3 strike cards, that means I could heavily lessen how long this fight goes. And there it goes. No attack cards. Let's change that. And I can deal just the 11 damage I need. Sometimes temporary strength is really useful, but so is taking less damage. More than a few enemies. Again, Even though I always take that 1 damage, it's almost always worth it. But now I get to eat him. If I do that, I'm gonna gain nothing because I pressed triangle. And it's my turn, and now I pay for it. God damn it. Alright, get a little bit less damage. I hit him pretty good. A couple of strikes, and that fire damage is going to be more than enough. I could hit up a shop, so let's go ahead and do that. These colorless cards are usually powers and skills. They deal high amounts of damage, but they usually cost more energy. Here on these top 3 rows are always relics. Potions on the bottom. Removing cards from your deck permanently, and here are more playing cards. This demon form makes me stronger every turn, meaning I don't have to defend as much. Definitely getting that, especially because it's already upgraded. I can't afford any other normal cards, so get another armaments. And a few more cards, just to have a few more options. Get some hit points back. And here's the first boss battle. Note that I did not get that top card. It's fine. He plans on getting some defense. Draw combust. So let's try to do that. Hitting the very easily. Deal a massive amount. For 18. Just fine for now. Hit hard once, use some abilities, and then hit hard slowly until they build up to those hard hits again. Since I have nothing but damage cards, now's a good time to gain some strength. I could also upgrade all the cards. Let's just go ahead and use everything. It's not advisable, but who cares? One card does not deal as much damage as 2. And there's that fire. That's going to make it stronger every time we take damage. Our fire is going to make him hit us harder every time we hit him. So we need to make sure our hits really count. So demon form is going to be our way to go. It doesn't matter if I end the battle with close to no hit points, so as soon as this ends, I get all my hit points back.